Aero Storage Products. Introducing the LW108 High Point Shed Assembly Video. Before you begin the assembly, please make sure to read the assembly manual thoroughly, as it contains important safety warnings and assembly tips. Care must be taken when handling various pieces of your building since some pieces may contain sharp edges. Please note that there are some steps in the assembly process that might require 2 people to help with the assembly. Some components can be heavy. Please use a second person when doing assembly involving these parts. For assembly support, please give us a call or visit us online. The storage shed can be built directly on the ground, on a wood platform, or on a concrete slab. Choose a location, and make sure the base is flat and level to provide adequate support for the building. Check the assembly manual for a complete parts list. The following tools are recommended for this assembly. Step 1. Assembling the floor frames. Begin Step 1 by locating the side floor frame, Part 8937. Next, locate one more side floor frame, and place it over the other frame. Make sure the frames overlap, at about 11 7/8 inches. Place the frame on top of the other, and verify that the finished, overall length of the assembly, is about 91 1/8 inch long. To secure the frames, attach the frames using 4 Part 65923 small bolts, and 4 Part 65103 hex nuts. 2 of the bolts get inserted from the bottom, while the other 2 bolts gets inserted from the top, as shown. Hold the nut in place and fully tighten the bolts using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps and assemble one more set of frames. Next, locate 2 rear floor frames, Part 8936, and overlap the frames together. Make sure the frames overlap, at about 11 7/8 inches. Place the frame on top of the other, and verify that the finished, overall length of the assembly, is about 119 3/8 inch long. Secure the frames together using 4 Part 65923 space bolts, and 4 Part 65103 space nuts. Matching the holes of each frame, insert 2 bolts through the bottom of the frames, and 2 bolts through the top of the frames. Fully tighten the bolts using a Phillips screwdriver. Set the rear floor frames aside for now. Next, locate 2 front floor frames, Part 9367, and place them side by side. Attach the ramp, Part 8934, in between both the front floor frames. The ramp gets mounted on top of both frames, and overlap both frames. The front of the assembly will be set up, with the ramp facing outward. Confirm that the drain holes are facing outside of the building. Overlap the ramp so that 4 holes align at each end of the frames. There are 4 holes on each side of the ramp. Match these holes with the holes of each frame. Secure the ramp using 4 Part 65004 screws. Insert the screws through the allocated top holes on the ramp, and into the frame. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the opposite side. Check that the finished length of the assembly is 119 3/8 inch long. Once the ramp is fully secured, check that all assembled parts are the correct length before continuing. Step 1 is now complete. Step 2. Assembling the wall frames. Begin Step 2 by locating 2 rear wall channels, Part 9917. Overlap 2 rear wall channels so that 3 holes align, as shown. Slide the parts together. To secure the channels, insert a bolt, Part 65923, and a nut, Part 65103, through the center hole. Insert the bolt through both channels, and fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. Verify that the finished, overall length of the assembly, is about 118 1/8 inch long. Set the assembly aside for now. Next, locate 2 rear wall angles, Part 5986, and overlap the channels at each end, matching the 5 end holes. Overlap 2 rear wall angles so that 5 holes align, as shown. Slide the parts together. To secure the angles, insert a bolt, Part 65923, and a nut, Part 65103, through the center hole. Insert the bolt through both angles, and fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. Verify that the finished, overall length of the assembly is about 118 1/8 inch long. Set the assembly aside for now.
Next, repeat the previous steps, and assemble 2 signed wall channels, part 9922, and 2 signed wall angles, part 8841.
Slide the parts together. Insert a bolt and a nut through the center hole, as previously shown. Verify that the finished, overall length of the assemblies is about 89 7/8 inch long. Repeat these steps, and assemble a second set of each assembly. Put the assemblies aside for now, and check that all assembled parts are the correct length before continuing. Step 2 is now complete. Step 3, assembling the roof beams.
Begin step 3 by locating a roof beam, part 10470.
Next, locate one more roof beam. Push the end of the beams together, and overlap the beams, matching the 2 bottom slots.
Next, secure one set of 2 beams from the bottom using 2 part 65923 bolts, and 2 65103 nuts.
Fully tighten the bolts using a Phillips screwdriver. Verify that the finished, overall length of the assembly is about 91 7/8 inch long.
Finish securing the 2 beams using 6 part 65923 bolts, and 6 part 65103 nuts.
Fully tighten the bolts using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps, and assemble one more set of beams. Next, locate 4 more roof beams, and overlap them as previously shown so that the bottom slots align. Do not insert bolts at this time. Verify that the finished, overall length of the assemblies are about 91 7/8 inch long. Next, place 2 sets of beams together, back to back. The end view should show the beams back to back.
Secure the center of the beams using 6 part 65923 bolts, and 6 part 65103 nuts.
Insert the bolts through both set of beams, and fully tighten the bolts using a Phillips screwdriver. Next, add 2 more bolts with nuts on both ends of the beam assembly. Fully tighten the bolts using a Phillips screwdriver. Finally, insert 4 bolts and nuts into the center bottom slots. Insert the bolts through the bottom. Set the beams aside for later use, and check that all assembled parts are the correct length before continuing. Step 3 is now complete. Step 4, assembling the door track.
Proceed by locating the door track splice, part 6403.
The door track splice is a painted part.
Next, locate 2 door tracks, part 9366.
Align both door tracks on each end of the splice. Push the door tracks onto the splice, and match the 4 holes on the bottom of the door track splice. The bottom side of the door tracks on the door track splice has 4 holes. The top side has many holes. Fasten the bottom side only.
Secure the door tracks using 2 part 65004 screws for each door track.
Insert the screws through the bottom side only. The gables will fasten to the door track using the holes on the top side. Fully tighten the 4 screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Verify that the finished, overall length of the assembly is about 118 1/8 inch long.
Next, position the door slides, part 66769, in the door track.
The slides should be installed in the door track prior to installation. Slowly slide them into place, as shown. Install 2 on each side. Place assembly aside for now, and check that all assembled parts are the correct length before continuing. Step 4 is now complete. Step 5, floor frame assembly. Begin Step 5 by locating all previously assembled frames from Step 1, and attach the frame assemblies together at each corner, as shown. For this step you will require the front floor, side floor, and rear floor assemblies. Do not fasten your floor frames to your base at this time. You will anchor your building after it is erected. If using a floor frame kit, you must wait until after assembly to install it. Assemble the frame as shown. Make sure to attach and overlap the assembly.
Overlap the corner as shown, and secure both frame assemblies using 2 part 65004 screws.
Fully tighten the 4 screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the remaining corners. Note that the smaller hole should be underneath the larger hole. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Once all corners are tightly secured, verify that the floor frame is both square and level. At this point, the holes might not line up properly. Measure diagonally to make sure the frame is square. When the diagonal measurements are equal, the frame is square. Do not continue beyond this point unless you have enough time to complete the shed today. The remainder of assembly may take several hours, and requires at least 2 people. A partially assembled shed left overnight can be seriously damaged by even light winds. It is recommended that you wait, and complete the remainder of shed assembly on a day which you have plenty of time to finish the shed safely and completely. Step 5 is now complete. Step 6, assembling the corner panels.
Begin step 6 by locating the corner panel, part 9373, and standing it upright.
The best way to assemble the corners is on a flat, elevated surface such as a table or workbench. If one of these is not available to you, you can support the corner panel and wall panel on the carton your shed was shipped in.
Next, locate the wall panel, part 8470, and attach it to the corner panel.
Place the wall panel towards the interior corner and push it in place, matching the 3 allocated holes.
Secure the upper portion of the panels using 1, part 65004 screw, 1, part 66646 washer.
The screw and washer go on the outside panel. Fully tighten the screw using a Phillips screwdriver.
Next, locate the center hole, and secure the panels using 1, part 65923 bolt, 1, part 66646 washer, and 1, part 65103 hex nut.
The bolt and washer go on the outside, while the nut goes on the inside panel. Fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver.
Next, secure the lower portion of the panels using 1, part 65004 screw, and 1, part 66646 washer.
Fully tighten the screw using a Phillips screwdriver. After all hardware is tightly secured, repeat these steps and assemble one more set of panels as previously shown. Set panels aside for now. Repeat the previous steps, and assemble one wall panel with one corner panel. Connect wall panel to corner panel with one screw in top and bottom holes, and one bolt in middle hole. Always double check that the correct wall panel is installed in the correct location by confirming the part number in the manual with the part number inked on the panel. Panels look similar and could be easily mistaken. Repeat these steps, and assemble a total of 2 corner panel sets. After all panels have been assembled, they will be attached to the base frame. Next, locate the previously assembled base frame. The front section of the frame has the ramp facing outward. With some assistance, place the previously assembled panels onto the bottom base frame assembly. The following panel assembly sets are attached to each corner, as shown. Use one person to support the corner while another secures the panels. Do not leave the corner unsupported until it is secure. Be cautious when maneuvering and placing panels. Once panels begin to go up, it is important to be able to finish in a timely manner to reduce the possibility of wind damage to your building.
Starting with the front right corner, secure the wall panel, part 9373, onto the front floor frame using 3, part 65004 screws, and 3, part 66646 washers. Secure the corner panel, part 8470 using 1 screw, and 1 washer to the side floor frame.
Place the screws through all holes along the bottom of the panels, but leave the hole closest to the ramp open in each front panel as shown below. Wall panels always attach to the floor frames with screws in the manner shown above. Rest the panel on the floor frame and the holes in the panel should line up with the holes in the frame. Insert the screws through the panels, and into the bottom frame. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the opposite, rear corner. Use 5 screws per rear corner. Working one corner at a time, attach the assembled corners to the floor frame in the position shown. Double check the part numbers indicated on the panels above.
The front wall panels, part 9373, must be installed along front of building, and the wall panels, part 6515, must be installed along rear of building.
Finally, repeat these steps, and secure the remaining panel assemblies. After all panels have been tightly secured to the base frame, Step 6 is now complete. Step 7, Wall Framing. It is recommended that someone assist you with this step. Begin Step 7 by locating the front side of the building, and the following wall angle assemblies from Step 2 and Step 4. The following wall angle assemblies will be attached to the corner panels on the locations shown. Place the wall angles with a flat face up against the wall, facing the inside of the corner panels, and matching the angle holes with the corner panel holes. Install one side wall angle assembly first. Install the rear wall angle assembly second. Install the other side wall angle assembly third, and install the door track assembly last.
Starting with the front, secure the side wall angles, part 8840, to the right side of the building, onto corner panel, part 8470. Attach the channel to the side panel using 1, part 65004 screw, and 1, part 66646 washer.
Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the opposite side of the side wall angle. Next, attach the rear wall angles to the back corner panels. Make sure to overlap the corners, as shown. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the opposite side and remaining front corner. Finally, after installing the side and rear angles, install the door track assembly. Before mounting the door track assembly, make sure the slides are in the door track at this time.
Push the door track in place, matching the top mount holes of both wall panels, part 9373.
Place the assembly behind the front panels, overlapping the previously installed wall channels.
Secure each side using 3, part 65004 screws, and 3, part 66646 washers.
Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Leave the hole closest to the ramp open in each front panel. Repeat these steps for the opposite side. Fully tighten the hardware on both sides. Step 7 is now complete. Step 8, Attaching the wall panels. Begin Step 8 by locating the front side of the building. Next, locate the left side of the building, and with some assistance, attach 3 wall panels.
Attach 2, part 7332 wall panels, and 1, part 6515 wall panel onto the corner panels.
Whenever a crimped rib and an uncrimped rib meet, the crimped rib should be placed under the uncrimped rib if possible. Matching heat top, center, and bottom holes, push the panels into place. Working one side at a time, lift the panels into place and secure top and bottom of panels with screws. Use this diagram when attaching the wall panels. Corner panels lay under front and side panels. Secure the top row to the wall angles, secure the middle row to the wall channels, and secure the lower row to the floor frames. Secure the circled, side holes, to the panel next to it.
To secure the wall panels, for this step you will use a total of 80, part 65004 screws, and 80, part 66646 washers.
Attach the wall panels with screws through all holes in top and bottom of panels. Use 17 bolts, nuts, and washers to attach the wall panels where the wall angles overlap. Place the bolt through the center hole where the panels overlap. Insert the hardware into the allocated holes and fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the remaining hardware.
Next, locate the rear side of the building and attach 2 more, part 6515, wall panels.
Slowly push the wall panels into place and match the holes on the corner panels. Whenever a crimped rib and an uncrimped rib meet, the crimped rib should be placed under the uncrimped rib if possible. Secure the wall panels as previously shown. Insert the hardware into the allocated holes and fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the remaining hardware. Finally, locate the right side of the building and attach 3 more wall panels.
Attach 2, part 7332 wall panels, and 1, part 6515 wall panel onto the corner panels.
Attach the panels as previously shown. After all hardware has been tightly secured, Step 8 is now complete. Step 9, Attaching the door jambs.
Begin step 9 by locating the two, part 9369, door jambs.
The door jambs get attached to the front panels, one on each side of the entrance. Slowly push them into place, matching the allocated holes on the front wall panels.
Secure the door jambs with two, part 65004 screws, and two, part 66646 washers, in the top and bottom of each panel, as shown.
Insert the screws through the door jamb. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Fully secure the top and bottom screws. Repeat these steps for the opposite side.
Next, insert two bolts, part 65923, into the backside of each panel. Insert two, part 65103 nuts, two, part 66646 washers, and two, part 65109 acorn nuts into the front side of each panel.
Secure the bolts with both a standard nut and an acorn nut. Leave the holes in the center of each door jamb open, as shown. The bolts must go through backside of the panel, or they may interfere with door action. The acorn nut should be visible from outside the building. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Secure the hardware on both sides, leaving the center holes open. Once both door jambs are fully secured, step 9 is now complete. Step 10, attaching the wall channels. Begin step 10 by locating the rear side of the building.
Next, and with some assistance, place the previously assembled rear wall channel assembly, parts 9917, on the inner side of the wall panels.
Match the holes on the corner and wall panels, and hold the channels in place.
Have the flat face facing the panels, and secure each side using the provided, part 65004 screws, and part 66646 washers.
Insert the screws in the remaining center available holes in the wall panels. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver.
Next, install two, part 9922, sidewall channel assemblies, on each side, as previously shown.
Make sure to overlap the corners, as shown.
Have the flat face facing the panels, and secure each side using the provided, part 65004 screws, and part 66646 washers.
Insert the screws in the remaining center available holes in the wall panels. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for both sides of the building.
Next, insert a screw, part 65004, in both rear corners where side and rear wall channels meet.
Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver.
Finally, locate the front side of the building, and attach two, front wall channels, part 9365, onto the front wall panels.
Matching the center holes, push and hold the front channels in place.
Secure the channels to the panels using the provided, part 65004 space screws, and part 66646, washer on.
The screws go on the outside of the building. Insert the screws through all remaining holes in the wall panels. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Fully secure both front wall channels. Step 10 is now complete. Step 11, assembling the gables.
Begin step 11 by locating the right gable, part 8576.
The gables are stacked together during shipping, and may be mistaken for one gable. Make sure to separate the gables before continuing.
Next, attach a plastic edge trim, part 69835, to the top of the right gable.
Slowly set it down in place until it covers the top edge of the gable. Install the edge trim to cover gable edge before doing any work with gables. Failure to do so could result in injury.
Next, attach the roof beam bracket, part 6635, onto the right gable.
The roof's beam bracket angle must face the center of the gable, as shown. Push and match the two gable center holes.
Secure the roof beam brackets, using two, part 65923 bolts, two part 66646 washers, and two, part 65103 nuts.
Fully tighten the bolts using a Phillips screwdriver.
Next, locate the left gable, part 8577.
Repeat the previous steps, attach a roof beam bracket, and edge trim as previously shown. Repeat these steps for one more right and left gable assemblies. Next, and with some assistance, mount one left and one right gable onto the rear side of the building. Have the right gable placed on the right side. The right side is from the back facing straight on from the exterior. Make sure to slowly slide the gables into place, overlapping the corners as shown. Working with one gable at a time, attach the rear gables to the rear wall angle with screws.
Secure the gables using 14, part 65004 space screws, 7 per gable. Insert 2, part 65103 bolts, and part 65103 nuts, where the wall angles overlap.
One on each gable, right on the center holes. Use bolts where angles overlap. Insert the screws onto the bottom holes and fully tighten the hardware using a Phillips screwdriver.
Next, attach the gable brace, part 9009, onto the center of both the right and left gables. Attach the brace using 1, part 65923 bolt, and 1, part 65103 nut. To secure gables together, position the gable brace as shown and insert a single bolt and nut through the second hole from the bottom only. Fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the front side and attach one more right and one more left gable assemblies as previously shown. For the front side gables, leave 2 holes open on each side of the gable peak to attach the track support. Fully secure the gables as previously shown. Finally, position the track supports, part 6228, on each side of the gable brace. First, secure the track supports to the gable using 1, part 65923 bolt, and 1, part 65103 nut. Then, secure the track supports to the door track, using 2, part 65004 screws per side.
Fully tighten the bolts using a Phillips screwdriver. Step 11 is now complete. Step 12, Roof Framing. Begin Step 12 by locating the back side of the near gable. Before installing the roof beams, you must tape both gable joints. Seal the gap between the gables using the weather stripping tape as shown.
Locate the weather stripping tape, part 67293, and tape the gable joints, as shown.
The tape should wrap around the gap between the gables. Do this at both ends of the building before installing roof beams. Repeat these steps for the front gable joints. Next, and with some assistance, place the main center roof beam assembly in the center, near the top of both gables. The main center beam should be first one attached. The angled side of the beams must face up, and the beam end view should look like this. Slide the gable brace into the center of the roof beam, matching the 2 top holes.
Secure the roof beam using 2, part 65923 bolts, and 2, part 65103 nuts.
Fully tighten the bolts using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the opposite side. Next, attach 2 more roof beams to the gables, one on the right side, and one on the left side. The angled side of the beams must face up, and the beam end view should look like this. Attach one roof beam at a time, and fully secure each end as previously shown. Fully secure all roof beams on both sides, as previously shown. After the room beams are fully secured, proceed to attaching the roof beam brace. Locate the bottom center of the roof beam, near the front gable.
Place 1, roof beam brace, part 9204 below the center roof beam, at an angle, matching the bottom holes of the track support, and the top holes to the roof beam holes.
In the front, attach the brace to the track supports, and the main beam.
Slide the brace into place, and starting with the bottom hole, secure the brace to the track support using 1, part 65923 bolt, and 1, part 65103 nut. Hand tighten the bolt for now. After securing the bottom bolt, swing the brace into the center of the roof beam, matching the holes on the beam. Secure the top of the brace using 1, part 65923 bolt, and 1, part 65103 nut.
Fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. After securing the top, go back to the bottom of the brace. Fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the opposite side.
Attach one more roof beam brace, part 9204, to the opposite end of the roof beam, as previously shown.
In the rear, attach the brace to the lowest hole in the gable and the main beam. Attach the roof beam brace as previously shown. Once both braces are fully secured, step 12 is now complete. Step 13, attaching the roof panels. Before starting this step, please reference the assembly manual. If roof beam holes do not line up with roof panel holes, shift the building from left to right. If this does not help, your building may not be level. Shim the corners until holes line up. Begin step 13 by locating the rear, right side of the storage shed.
With some assistance, place the right end panel, part 8578, on top of the roof beams, towards the rear end.
To make attaching the roof panels easier, prior to attaching the panels, use a hand level, and verify that the building is squared and leveled at the top of the walls. An awl may be used to help align holes that are only slightly misaligned. Take care not to bend or warp the metal, and always practice proper tool safety. Be sure to carefully follow the roof panel placement order diagram on the assembly manual. Follow the following sequence when attaching the hardware. Slowly set the panel in place. Secure the panel by inserting the top hardware first, and working your way down. Secure the first end panel to the main roof beam by placing a screw in the hole number 1. Carefully remove the gable edge trim once the panel is in position.
Secure the top using 1, part 65004 screw, and 1 part 66646 washer.
Fully tighten the screw using a Phillips screwdriver.
The side of the panel gets attached to the gable using 6, part 65923 bolts, 6, part 66646 washers, and 6, part 65103 nuts.
First, insert the top screw, and fully tighten the screw using a Phillips screwdriver. Secure the remaining bolts in the order shown, from top to bottom. Fasten the hardware in order. Next, secure the panel to the lower roof beam by placing a screw in the last hole. Fully tighten the screw using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat for the remaining right end and left end panels. Work one corner at a time. Be sure to finish a corner before moving on to the next one. Repeat these steps for the opposite side. When all roof corner panels are fully attached, step 13 is now complete. Step 14, Roof Assembly. Before you begin, cut 4 strips of weather stripping 2 inches long from the roll of weather stripping tape, and put aside for later use.
Next, attach the first roof panel, part 7571, on the rear side of the building.
The roof panels must be installed in the following sequence, starting with panel labeled number 1, as shown. When attaching the roof panels, place and secure one roof panel at a time. Slowly lower the roof panel in place. Whenever a crimped rib and an uncrimped rib meet, the crimped rib should be placed under the UN crimped rib if possible. Starting with the top, secure the roof panel to the roof beam. The 2 outer holes fasten to the ridge cap, and the remainder inner holes fasten to the roof beam.
Secure the roof panel using 4 part 65004 screws and 4 part 66646 washers.
Insert the hardware through the top, into the allocated holes. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Start with the top hardware first, and work your way down. Next, locate the center holes of the roof panel. The outer center holes of the panel, fasten to the next panel with a bolt and nut.
Secure the roof panel to the roof beam using 4 part 65004 screws and 4 part 66646 washers.
Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Whenever a crimped rib and an uncrimped rib meet, the crimped rib should be placed under the uncrimped rib if possible.
Next, secure the roof panel to the roof end panel, using 1 part 65923 bolt, 1 part 66646 washer, and 1 part 65103 nut.
The nut goes on the underside. Fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. The bottom holes will be secured at the very end. Do not fasten the holes on the lower end of the panels.
Repeat these steps for the opposite side, and attach the second roof panel, part 7571.
Attach the roof panel as previously shown. Repeat these steps, and attach the side roof panels next. Attach the roof panels on both sides, as previously shown. Whenever a crimped rib and an uncrimped rib meet, the crimped rib should be placed under the uncrimped rib if possible.
Once the roof panels are fully secured, apply weather stripping, part 67545, onto the top of the roof panels, covering the center openings.
Weather stripping tape should be applied in one continuous strip along the length of the roof. Next, attach end panels to the roof panel next to it using one bolt and nut each. Do not fully tighten the ridge cap bolts until you have both ridge cap bolts in place. This will ease assembly. Bolts must be fully tightened before moving on to the next steps. Place a strip of weathering tape over the bolts to seal. Bolts under the ridge cap pass through slots, where the end roof panel is overlapped by the panel next to it.
Next, attach the long ridge cap, part 8840.
Attach the long ridge cap with 2 bolts and 2 nuts. Bolts through ridge cap pass through slots, where the center roof panel overlaps the panel next to it. Do not secure end of ridge caps until peak caps are in place. Next, attach the remaining roof panels as previously shown. Secure the roof panels on both sides to the roof beams and side panels as previously shown. After the remaining roof panels are fully secured, continue to apply weather stripping at the top, where the roof panels meet. Finish weather stripping the roof, and cut the tape just past the end of the roof. Fold end of the tape under roof edge. Attach the end panels to the roof panel next to it using one bolt and one nut each. Place a strip of tape over the bolt to seal.
Finally, attach the short ridge cap, part 8486.
Attach the short ridge cap using 2 bolts and nuts. Do not secure end of ridge caps until peak caps are in place. Do not fully tighten ridge cap bolts until you have both ridge cap bolts in place. This will ease assembly. Bolts must be fully tightened before moving on to the next step. Next, on both sides of the building, secure the bottom of roof panels to the sidewall angles with screws. Use bolts and nuts where wall angles overlap. Insert the hardware through the bottom holes of the roof panels. Fully tighten the hardware using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the opposite side. Step 14 is now complete. Step 15, attaching the roof trims and peak caps.
Begin step 15 by locating the front of the storage shed, and align the peak cap, part 67468 with the ridge cap, as shown.
Slowly slide the peak cap legs under the ridge cap.
Secure the peak cap with 2, part 65923 bolts, 2, part 66646 washers, and 2, part 65103 nuts on each end.
Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. After securing the front peak cap, repeat these steps for the rear side, and attach the second peak cap.
Next, locate the right side of the shed, and attach 2 roof trims, 1 left trim, part 8485, and 1 right trim, part 8836.
Position roof trim as shown, and secure with screws. Pay close attention to where the left and right roof trim pieces are located. Place one roof trim at a time, and match the holes located on the roof panels.
Secure the roof trims using 4, part 65004 screws, and 4, part 66646 washers.
Do not fasten the last screw on each end. Insert the hardware into the pre-drilled holes. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the remaining 3 screws.
Next, locate the left corner, and attach the left trim cap, part 66183L. Push the room trim, part 66683L, into the corner matching the top and hole. Secure the room trim using 1, part 65004 screw.
Fully tighten the screw using a Phillips screwdriver.
Repeat these steps for the opposite corner, and attach the right room trim, part 66183R. Secure the room trim using the part 65004 screw. Push the room trim, part 6668183R, into the corner matching the top and hole, and fully tighten the screw using a Phillips screwdriver.
Repeat these steps for the opposite side, and attach the roof trims as previously shown. Attach the roof trims and roof trim caps as previously shown. Step 15 is now complete. Step 16, assembling the doors. Begin step 16 by assembling the right door assembly first.
Locate the door panel, part 10475, and with some assistance, stand it upright. Next, attach the door handle, part 66045, and the door handle brace, part 3719 to the door panel. Secure the door handle and brace with 2, part 65923 bolts, and 2, part 65103 nuts, as shown. Do not fully tighten the bolts that hold in the door handle until the vertical door brace is in place. Hand tighten the bolts for now. Next, locate the vertical door brace, part 6278, and align it with the center holes of the door panel. The vertical door brace gets attached to the door braces on the interior, gray side of the door. Rotate the door handle brace to align it with the vertical door brace, as shown. Align the angled end of the brace with upper the door handle hole. Slowly push the brace in place, matching the center of the door panel. Place tab end of brace under vertical door brace. Secure the vertical door brace with 3, part 65004 screws, and 3, 66646 washers. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. After securing the vertical door brace, fully tighten the door handle bolts. Next, attach the horizontal door brace, part 10497, onto the back, top part of the door. Slide the horizontal brace over the door edge. Secure the brace using 1, part 65923 bolt, 1, part 66646 washer, and 1, part 65103 nut. Insert the bolt with washer from the front of the door panel. Fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. Next, repeat these steps for the bottom channel, and attach the horizontal door brace, part 10497, on the bottom back side of the door panel. Secure the brace using 1 part 65923 bolt, 1 part 66646 washer, and 1 part 65103 nut.
Fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. After the center bolt is secured, locate the side edge of the horizontal brace.
Attach the edge using 1 part 65923 bolt, 1 part 66646 washer, and 1 part 65103 nut.
Insert the bolt on the second, inner hole. The outer hole is for the door guides. Fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. Next, attach a lower door guide onto the bottom edge of the door panel.
Secure the door guide and horizontal door brace using 1 part 65923 bolt, 1 part 66646 washer, and 1 part 65103 nut for each side of the channel.
Fully tighten the bolt using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps for the opposite side, and attach the second door guide. After the door assembly is fully secured, place it aside for now, and repeat these steps for the left door assembly. Repeat all previous steps for the second door. Once both doors are fully secured, step 16 is now complete. Step 17, attaching the doors. After both doors are assembled, install the doors to the front entrance of the building. Starting with the left door assembly, and with assistance, mount the door onto the front floor frame. The door panel gets mounted to the door slides, located on top of the door track. From inside the building, place the bottom of the door into the front floor frame track at about the half-open position. Install the door by first swinging it and pivoting it into place, as shown. Rotate the door forward until it is vertical and align the door slides with the door.
Match the door slide holes onto the door panel holes, and secure the door using 4 part 65900 black screws.
Insert 2 black screws through the horizontal brace and into each door slide. Fully tighten the screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat these steps, and attach the right door assembly as previously shown. After installing the doors, adjust the doors if needed. If the doors do not align, raise or lower one side of the door by placing the door screws through a different set of holes in the door slides. Congratulations! You have now completed the assembly of the LW108 high point shed. The entire floor frame must be securely anchored once the building is erected. Anchor your building at this time. Reference the assembly manual for details on anchoring. If you have purchased a floor frame kit, you should install it at this time. Please take a moment to ensure that the building is installed in accordance with these instructions and with all applicable regulations. Enjoy your new LW108 high point shed. Brought to you by Arrow Storage Products.